Second, I'm gonna have to see if I can get this light down.
The great tasty nutrition of Ensure with up to 30 grams of protein and 26 vitamins and minerals. Ensure for strength and energy.
I don't know if that's any better, but I shouldn't have that light. Hold on. On a different light. The choice is simple. Corseed HVP is the #1 brand that gives powerful symptom relief without raising your blood pressure. All right, that's better. Sorry about that. Okay. So, oh, I got to turn the TV down. Whoa, put it on mute. Anywho, so again, I told you guys I was going to be coming on here and talking about growing up as a Jehovah's Witness. So I guess I'll start from being a little girl. What I remember, what I do remember is, I don't actually remember celebrating any holidays because I was so young when we got involved as a family. Let's see, I said I was 4 years old. My mother got baptized in the religion. So once she got baptized, and that meant the whole family was involved. So I remember going to school, grammar school, and not being able to participate in a lot of the activities, not being able to participate in singing the Pledge of Allegiance, the Star Spangled Banner, um, uh, celebrating when they had holiday parties, like when they celebrated Christmas or they celebrated, Halloween or any particular holiday that was going on at the time. We didn't celebrate any of them. And so what we had to do as a child, we either didn't go to school or we had to sit in the hallway, say they had a party in the class, and they had a party in the classroom. We were excused to go sit in the hallway. If I could remember correctly, I do actually remember one time just sitting in the class while the students, celebrated. Let me think, what holiday was it? I'm trying to remember, maybe Valentine's Day or something like that, where all the kids brought in candy and they sat and ate candy. So I had to sit there and not participate, kind of sit with your hands folded. Or even when they did like the Pledge of Allegiance, we just sat in the chair, sat in our seats at our desk and didn't move because, of course, the parents already had a note to the whole school letting the school know that we do not participate in the activities of the school or any type of activities that involve politics, saying pledge of allegiance, involving holidays, and things of that sort. And so, it was embarrassing. People laughed at us, and I still had a few friends, that I might have maybe walked to school with or walked home with, and from school. And then we also had, a particular group of people that we, maybe they were able to. We went outside during the weekends, but we couldn't do it so much. My mother really didn't want us to be out and about, with all the people of the world. So it was basically we only could associate with people that were of the religion. So when it came to having, going over to a friend's house that was in the hall, she was happy about that. As long as we were with somebody that was at the hall, we was able to go spend a night at their house, go to little parties and stuff like that. And in grammar school, I think we did more in grammar school than we did in high school because we were younger and we did, like I said, we knew a lot of people that were the witness organization. And let me just go back to say that we went to the first hall that I remember going to was a hall on 71st and Halsted, the Kingdom Hall on 71st and Halsted. We went there for a while, and at that point we used to walk because it was just down the street from where I grew up. And so and I grew up on 73rd and Halsted. And uh, that's where I grew up in Chicago. And so we used to walk. And of course, back in that time, it wasn't as, bad as it is now. where you couldn't, walk to the store just down the street. So I don't seem like it's dry. All right. Anywho, so we used to walk there, and then I guess the congregation kept getting so big, so we eventually built a new Kingdom Hall. It was one built on 78th and Bishop, and so we were transferred over to that hall. And so at that point, that's when we started getting to ride with a lot of different people. But then we had a standalone ride with the brother I explained earlier. They used to live on 78th, 75th, I think 75th and Sangamon, I want to say they used to live. And we used to even walk to their house on certain days when it was really nice outside. We would walk over there to get our ride to the hall. We were excited about it. We were excited about going out in field service, which we call when we go door to door every Saturday morning, when we go to people's houses for Bible studies. We got together for our own private Bible studies to talk about the Bible study that we had already. And I didn't lead a Bible study, but I was with older women who led Bible studies, or, we went out in field service. Of course, my mother, we all used to go out together. And so as a young child, they expect you to kind of look at what your parents are doing or look at what the older people are doing. And so you go out and you kind of follow along, see what they're doing. And then they'll give you a chance, to go to that door. And I've been to friends' houses knocking on doors that I went to school with. And it can be embarrassing, but I was kind of excited about it because I was like, wow, this is so good. I want to do Jehovah's work. I want to do anything I can to do the right thing, And so I wanted to go ahead and just, go in. I was all in. And so I went door to door. There was times where I would get up early in the morning, like 6 in the morning, with my mother or somebody else that was I was in training with. Of going out from door to door. We would go walk up and down 79th and Halsted or 79th Street. We would walk up and down those streets just, like 6 in the morning to, pass out the watchtowers or sell them at that time. I believe were they a quarter, 30 cents, something like that. And as the years went by, of course, the prices went down on the cost of the magazines, and now you don't have to pay for them now. The Witness is paying for everything now. So, and so, anyway, so I enjoyed going door to door. I enjoyed going to, when I knew it was one of my friends' house, I was like, oh, I hope they're not there. I hope they're not there. But again, I still enjoyed it, but I didn't like it when I had to go to a friend's house. Then they would be laughing in the background while their mother at the door, my mother at the door, or something like that. But it was still something that I was proud of doing, as a young girl, in grammar school. Proud, very proud. And there was a couple of times where, we wanted to be involved in something. Can we be involved in something, Mother? So the first thing that she let us do was join a pep rally. And I think I was in 8th grade at the time, and my sisters were in 7th. And so we joined the pep rally. And it was interesting. It was nice, I still can remember some of the cheers, stag bullets, It was good. It was fun. We went to a grammar school game to Oglesby, and we did our little performances. And that was my first touch of doing being part of a pep rally. And so, I'm gonna stay in grammar school. I'm not gonna jump to high school just yet. So while in grammar school, when it was time for me to graduate, and then there's another thing, I repeated a grade, and and it was because of the fact that I didn't I think I was afraid of tests. When it came time to taking a test, I froze up. But during the school time or during the school year, all during the year, I had good grades. But when it came time to taking those tests that we used to have to take back then, which were called Iowa tests, um, I passed the math and the vocabulary, but I failed the reading by maybe 3 or 4 points. And the teacher that I had at the time, she decided, well, she didn't pass the test, so we can't graduate. We can't let her go to the next grade. So I had to repeat 7th grade. But anyway, so in that I was able to meet more people and have more friends. And though I did have to repeat a grade, I did learn more. I became a little more knowledgeable, because I had to repeat 7th grade. I still was able to learn more. And so when it came time to get into 8th grade, it's the 7th grade for the 7th time, the teacher that I had at the time, her name was Mrs. Johnson. She wanted me to go ahead and graduate with my class because she's like, well, she didn't caught up on her grades. Now we can go and let her graduate. I passed the Iowa test with flying colors. But they said, well, we can't let her graduate because her birthday is after September the 1st. I was like, what? But I was in the right class, before. So, but I had to repeat a grade. So you can't say that it was my birthday, but it had changed. The laws had changed from, I believe it was July the 1st to September the 1st that year. And so because of that, they wouldn't let me graduate with the class that I should have graduated with. But anywho, all that aside, it still affects, being part of a, false religion because, you have all types of fears and doubts. You're always negative. You're always scared. You're always afraid. I grew up being kind of timid, shy. And so I think that had a lot to do with me not passing my grades because of the fact to the next grade, because of the fact that I had the shyness. Maybe I didn't ask enough questions and things like that. But more experience as far as growing up in grammar school, it was okay. I was okay with the fact that we didn't celebrate the holidays because again, I don't even remember ever celebrating a holiday when I was 3 and 2 years old. My mother said we did, but who am I? I don't remember that. All I remember is just all of a sudden not celebrating anything. And it felt normal. It was normal, but oh yeah, that was something. When the kids had their birthday parties, people would have bring in cupcakes and stuff like that, and we couldn't partake of it. So I couldn't partake of it when there were times when they had certain celebrations like that. I would only want to partake of this some food, but as far as the reasoning behind it, as far as representing my religion, I didn't want to partake, but again, because it's, food, I probably would have want that. And so anyway, let's see what else. 8th grade. Excuse me. When it came time to graduate, I know it's kind of quiet in the background, but on some of my next few videos, I'm going to have some, maybe a little background music going on, and I might have a little bit of background. Right now, I'm just chilling. I'm sitting here, and I'm like, well, I got a little time. Maybe I'll go ahead and do another video, and so that's why I'm doing it real quick. My husband, he wants to do a lot of background stuff, and he want to do it right, because he wants to be my producer, which is fine. He's a great producer. He can produce a lot of stuff. So we'll give him that opportunity on the next time that I do another video. So anyway, so when I was in 8th grade, at this point, I'm ready to graduate and go to high school. And there was a luncheon. The luncheon was nice. We had a great time. We was able to go to the luncheon because, the mother is included. And the 8th grade luncheon. Yeah, 8th grade. Now I'm thinking about high school luncheon. But my 8th grade luncheon, I do remember going, but I don't remember where it was. I'm trying to think. But we had an 8th grade luncheon, and then you have the graduation. So we had the luncheon and then the graduation. So when graduation time came, It was at a church, and the church was called Shiloh Baptist Church. I believe it was on 70th and Racine or something like that, somewhere in that area. And so we were supposed to graduate there. And for some reason, I don't remember or didn't realize that I did not go to my graduation because of that. And maybe I blocked it out, because I'm like, I don't remember that I didn't go to my 8th grade graduation. I do not remember that, but I know that I didn't. And I don't have memories of it. I remember taking a graduation picture, because of course my mother has the picture, but I do not remember the actual act of graduating from 8th grade, because of the fact that it was in a church. And I guess because of the fact that I knew that we weren't going to be able to go. So it was me, I believe both of my brothers, and my brother and my 2 sisters. I believe that none of us graduated from our grammar school, because of the fact that the grammar school had the graduations in the church. And so again, I don't quite remember that, but that was part of growing up, as far as being in the hall. And so some of the things that we did in the hall was we, every Monday. Well, okay, so I believe we had 5 meetings a week. Sunday we had it was what they call a public talk. That was the first thing, like the first half of the service was a public talk, where a ministerial servant or an elder of the hall, they would be the ones who bring forth a word from the governing body or the society, which is the group that heads up the Watchtower organization. They actually give an outline of what should be talked about, and then the people that who's in charge, or as far as the elder or the ministerial servant, that's what we call them, they will be the ones who will give we call them the talk, a public talk, because it was for the public, it was for everybody. Then there was an intermission, there was a break, and then we went forth with the Watchtower study. And so on the weekends, if we decide, we say, Mom, can we go outside? Can we go outside? And once we decide can we go outside, the first thing my mother would say is, did you do your Watchtower? Did you study your Watchtower yet? And so we would have to study our Watchtower. It was always based off of studying your Watchtower first. You got to study that Watchtower, because we want you to underline the right answers at the right time. I don't have a Watchtower with me, because I do not carry none of that stuff, because as far as I'm concerned, it's garbage, it's rubbish. And so whenever somebody try to give them to me, you know what I do? I throw them away, because I don't need them. And anyway, so I did not, what was I talking about? The Watchtower. I don't keep tracks of those things. So if I had one, I would show it to you, but you can always look online and I noticed somebody put a comment on my last video posting jw.org. Why would they do that? So that you can get some people to check you out. Please don't be fooled. Anyway, so we had to study our Watchtower. There was a particular, hair in my mouth. There was a particular part within the Watchtower, a study part, where it could have been 4 to 5 pages, or maybe 6 to 7. And we had to we had to read the whole chapters of each, subheading. And then there was a question at the end of each subheading. And it would say, like, what is it that we are to do when we're in this type of a situation? And so when you answer it and you look into those paragraphs, and whatever the answer that's highlighted as far as whatever the question was, and you go into that paragraph and you say, oh, that's the answer right there. Whenever you're in this type of situation, you must do this. And so we have to underline that as our answer. And so that's one way how they indoctrinated us, is by having us do this question and answer every Sunday. And when you underline these things, it's supposed to be inculcated in your mind. and you're supposed to continue to study it even after it's over, you know. So that's what we did on Sunday. So that's considered 2 meetings. So then on Tuesday, we had our private Bible study, which means that there's either a ministerial servant who opened up his home for people in the particular area, that you would go to their house every Tuesday for a couple of hours for what they call book study. Now, book study is studying one of the books that they tell us we have to study. Not studying the Bible, but studying their books. So the books, you know, like there's a book called Is This Life All There Is? Is this life really all there is? Something like that. Or is there's a bunch of other books, and you know, because I try not to remember this stuff, but I probably need to maybe have a book that I could show you. But again, I don't have any of those materials. But just as an example, one book would be Is This Life All There Is? It's just use that as an example. And so we will go over that book until we're done with it. And it'll be a question and answer. Read a paragraph. Somebody read that paragraph. This person answer the question. That one answer. It's just like a little book study. We studying out of a book, and you will refer to the Bible after you get the information what's in the book. You don't get it from the Bible and then say this is what the book says. You get it from the book and then say this is what the Bible say. So they interpret the Bible based off of their doctrine. Okay, and so that was our third meeting of the week. Then on a Wednesday, we had ministry school and theocratic school, something like that. And one of them, I'm trying to remember. I know one of the schools, the meetings was where we had they gave us tests. Every month we would get to these tests called written reviews, where we would have to write down. They would give us a bunch of questions that we went over for the whole month, and then you have to be old enough to answer them. So when they figure if you're in 7th or 8th grade, you're old enough to answer these questions. So you get a test to take too. And so you write down all the answers you think, and then after it's over with, everybody read the elder or ministerial servant who's in charge. They go over all of the answers and make sure you have the right answer. They go over all the questions and make sure you have all the right answers. If you put down the wrong answer, they say, okay, that's wrong. Just put down the right, scratch out what you had and put down this answer. So that was another way of indoctrination. The other study was teaching us how to go door to door. We would have live demonstrations. We thought it was so great to have an opportunity to get up in front of the hall and sit up on the it was like an exciting thing to do, because at home you study and you have your index cards. They tell you to get your index cards, and then you write down what you're going to say. Like, I'm going to say, for instance, I'm the publisher and you're the person I'm knocking on their door. We did role playing to show how you're supposed to act when you go to somebody's door. And so we did role playing. So I had my chance that I was up there, because at this point I'm a publisher. I think I became a publisher maybe when I was still in grammar school, 7th or 8th grade, something like that. I became a publisher. Because I believe, you could be a publisher without being baptized. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe you could be a publisher without being baptized. I do remember going door to door and not being a baptized witness at the time. So and a publisher, let me tell you what a publisher is. A publisher is someone who gets 10 or more hours a month going door to door or witnessing to people, that you might walk into on the street, or maybe somebody in school. You might want to witness to somebody in school. You count all of that as time that you spent talking about the Lord's organization, Jehovah's organization. And then also the time that you go from door to door, the time that you sit down and study with somebody, even if you're not the person that's conducting the study, but you're with someone else that's conducting the study, you count that as your time as well, because you're still being trained on how to conduct your own Bible study if you would ever do one yourself. So that's kind of like that's how you set that up. So that's what a publisher is. And so once you do that, then let me see. So what happened? Okay, right. So then I was saying how we learn how to talk to people from door to door at these Wednesday night meetings. Then they would critique us on how we did when we did the card. Okay, so that's good. You did a good job. So next time, just make sure you say this. Make sure you say that. Make sure you say this. You have to really know exactly what to say. You got to say exactly what their books say. You can't veer off and make up your own stuff. You can't think on your own. You have to do exactly how they say you're supposed to do it. And so that's another way of indoctrination. You're indoctrinated to speak like them. Everybody speak the same. Everybody talk the same. Nobody should have anything different to say. Nobody should have anything different outside of what they have been taught on a Sunday, on a Tuesday, and on a Wednesday. Then when Friday or Saturday came, that would have been our time to, or even in the evenings that we don't have meetings, they still expect you to go out. Maybe you might have a study that you might have to conduct on Thursday evening. They still expect you to go out and do that. Excuse me. And then there's also, Saturdays is the big day when everybody gets together and we meet at the hall Saturday morning, like 10 o'clock, and we go out. You look at me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I just got to eat some Harold's chicken. And we go out and get together and go from door to door, up and down neighborhoods, and we group off, two at a time, maybe 4 on one block and 4 on the other block, but then 2 on this side of the street and 2 on that side of the street. And we go to people's doors in pairs. And one thing that I noticed about what we used to do is that they always had a younger person with the older person, because they felt that the older person was more experienced and they could kind of show you how to do it or how it's done. And then the next door they'll say, okay, now it's your turn. You go up there and do it now. Your turn. And and I was nervous at first when I tried to do that, but after a while, once I got over my nervousness and got over being embarrassed by my friends, I just said, you know what, forget it. This is what I'm doing. I'm doing the right thing because God said this is what we're supposed to be doing. We following Jehovah. He said, go preach the word to all mankind. And because we got to preach until the end comes. So we got to preach God's kingdom because the end is coming and we got to let everybody know all about it. So I was excited about that. I was very thrilled about doing that. And so that's what I did. I did it in grammar school, mind you, grammar school. So that's part one. This is part one of my endeavors to talk to you about me growing up in the Watchtower, in the organization that a lot of people deem a nice religion. Oh, they're so great. And the reason why I think a lot of people don't want to hear the stories of most ex-Jehovah's Witnesses is because they have family members in it. And most people, and I'm talking about people who are believers or Christians, if you will, they necessarily don't think your story is very important. They think it's just, oh, she used to be a Jehovah's Witness, that was one religion, now you're in another religion. But that's not the case. We grew up in a cult. We didn't grow up in a religion. We grew up in it was a religion, but it was a false religion. We didn't grow up in knowing the right things or the way to pray or how to pray or who to pray to. We didn't know the real Jesus. And that's another thing. A lot of people that's unlearned think that we were serving the real Jesus. And we weren't. We will tell you, we'll go door to door and tell you, oh yeah, we know Jesus. Yeah, we know him. But do you really know him? So on my next video, I'm going to talk about me being in high school and, interacting with boys and things of that nature, and how I got into the point of being involved in certain things, and just kind of taking you step by step on my journey. And so I hope you enjoyed this particular video. Like I said, my next video, I'm going to have a little more, background noise, a little music, maybe something to, make it seem a little more, exciting and you'll want to hear. So I would love for you guys to subscribe to my page. All you got to do is subscribe. So I would love for you to do that. All right, you guys have a great evening and be blessed. And thanks for joining.